I used to be a strange, non-named toy, and everybody was scared seeing me. Now I'm a Cheburashka, and every stray dog recognizes me and gives me a paw to greet. Those are the lines written by Eduard Uspensky for his cartoon character Cheburashka. Stay tuned and I'll tell you more in a moment. Hello and welcome to our 5 minutes with Ekaterina Russian literature. Our writer and poet for today is Eduard Uspensky, who was the author of so many children's cartoons that I wouldn't list them now, but I only would say that he invented the Crocodile Gena and Cheburashka, and also the Uncle Fedor and Prostokvashino. In the movie dedicated to the memory of the great writer and poet, after his death in 2018, the people who knew him said that he wrote these characters based on his own character, and all these animals and people, both protagonists and antagonists, they all were the different aspects of Eduard Uspensky character. As a child, he was a hooligan because he grew up almost all the time without the father, and he was born in 1937, before the Second World War. And after the Germans came into the Soviet Union, his two brothers and mother were evacuated from Moscow to the Ural region, and they would come back only in 1943 to the semi-hunger state in Moscow. The dad will work hard, but he would die in 1947, and these times they would be so hard for the family that they didn't even have enough food to eat. In 1955, Eduard Uspensky decides to become an engineer because he had good marks on math and physics at school, and enters the university. But over years it turned out that his small satirical or funny pieces, they became more paid than any job in any plant. So he decided not to work based on his diploma, university diploma, and dedicate himself fully into writing poetry and writing some funny stories. In 1965, Eduard Uspensky will publish his first independent children's book, A Funny Elephant, which is not that famous nowadays, but the very next year he will publish the Crocodile Gena and his friends story, based on which there would be a movie. Let's read the full song of the Cheburashka from this cartoon to get an idea about the style of Eduard Uspensky at the time. Да, Гена крокодил, но все-таки почти человек. Я был когда-то странной игрушкой безымянной, к которой в магазине никто не подойдет. Теперь я Чебурашка, мне каждая дворняжка при встрече сразу лапу подает. Теперь я Чебурашка, мне каждая дворняжка при встрече сразу лапу подает. Мне не везло сначала, и даже так бывало, ко мне на день рождения никто не приходил. Теперь я вместе с Геной, он необыкновенный, он самый лучший в мире крокодил. Я был когда-то странной игрушкой безымянной, к которой в магазине никто не подойдет. Теперь я Чебурашка, мне каждая дворняжка при встрече сразу лапу подает. Теперь я Чебурашка, мне каждая дворняжка при встрече сразу лапу подает. The original story published in the book is very different from the one we can see in the cartoon. Originally, the main focus was on the crocodile, who had his own biography, who had the double in the zoo, which is not shown in the cartoon at all. And the cartoon itself, it was made several years after in 1969, and the main character, the main focus there is on the Cheburashka, who is so strange and whose story a little bit shown in the preface to the original book. Let's read it together. Наверное, у каждого из вас, ребята, есть своя любимая игрушка, а может быть даже 2 или 5. У меня, например, когда я был маленьким, было 3 любимых игрушки. Громадный резиновый крокодил по имени Гена, маленькая пластмассовая кукла Галя и неуклюжий плюшевый зверек со странным названием Чебурашка. Чебурашку сделали на игрушечной фабрике, но сделали так плохо, что невозможно было сказать, кто же он такой – заяц, собака, кошка или вообще австралийский кенгуру. Глаза у него были большие и желтые, как у филина, голова круглая, заячья, а хвост коротенький и пушистый, такой, какой бывает обычно у маленьких медвежат. Мои родители утверждали, что Чебурашка – это неизвестный науке зверь, который водится в жарких тропических лесах. Сначала я очень боялся этого неизвестного науке Чебурашку и даже не хотел оставаться с ним в одной комнате. Но постепенно я привык к его странной внешности, подружился с ним и стал любить его не меньше, чем резинового крокодила Гену и пластмассовую куклу Галю. С тех пор прошло очень много времени, но я все равно помню своих маленьких друзей и вот написала о них целую книгу. Разумеется, в книге они будут живые, а не игрушечные. In his biography film, Eduard Uspensky remembers the Cheburashka's name a little bit different from what we've read together. He says that he had a young girl who was his friend and for whom her parents bought a very big fur coat. If you know that the winters in Russia are very strong, especially in Moscow, and people used to wear these fur coats from the real fur, from different animals, and the most popular were the brown ones. I don't know really why I don't wear fur, because I'm for animals, but at the time they didn't have this possibility to wear synthetics, and parents bought to this small girl a very big fur coat, and she couldn't really move without stepping on it, and sometimes she even fell down, and falling down process is called Cheburachnutsa, and from this Cheburachnutsa, to fall down, the name Cheburashka is originated, and his brown color and this bigness and furness is from this fur coat. I think that both versions might be true because they are both written or told by Eduard Uspensky. After the first cartoon, which was called Crocodile Gena in 1971, there was its sequel, which was called Cheburashka. And these 2 cartoons now are classic, and everybody should watch them just to get into the mentality of the children at the time, and several generations of the children grew up on this cartoon. After this cartoon there was Prostokvashino and the Plasticine Crow, which also are extremely popular till nowadays. I will add the links for all 3 of them so you can watch yourself and enjoy them. And for today, together, I want to read another song from it, from the original Cheburashka cartoon, which probably you heard, even you haven't heard anything about these cartoons. You know this song because it's a happy birthday song in the Russian language. The original verses for it were written by Alexander Timofeevsky under the supervision of Eduard Uspensky himself, and music for it was written by Vladimir Shensky. Пусть бегут неуклюже пешеходы по лужам, а вода по асфальту рекой. И неясно прохожим в этот день непогожий, почему я веселый такой. А я играю на гармошке, у прохожих на виду. К сожалению, день рождения только раз в году. Прилетит вдруг волшебник в голубом вертолете и бесплатно покажет кино. С днем рождения поздравит и, наверное, оставит мне в подарок 500 эскимо. Пусть бегут неуклюже пешеходы по лужам и вода по асфальту рекой. И неясно прохожим в этот день непогожий, почему я веселый такой. Я играю на гармошке у прохожих на виду. К сожалению, день рождения только раз в году. К сожалению, день рождения только раз в году. After the very successful career in multiplication, Eduard Uspensky was a director and a host of the radio and TV programs for children, and he also continued to write the tales for children, which were changing according to the situation in the country. An interesting fact is that in 2003 the Japanese company bought the rights to film the continuation of the Cheburashka story, and it was made in Japan in Japanese language and then translated into Russian and showed in the Russian screen. People who knew Eduard Uspensky closely said that he had a very complicated personal character, and he was not such a straightforward personality, and you can see it in his characters, you can see it in these cartoons, you can see it in these fairy tales. Eduard Uspensky lived a long life. He died from cancer in the age of 80, and his creative inheritance is so great that we all know his name, and his name is written with the gold letters in the story of the children's literature and poetry. I hope you liked the story today. If you watched these cartoons, leave me a comment what you think about them, and feel free to leave any comments there. I'm always excited to read them. If you liked the video, don't forget about your likes, subscriptions, and bell button is there too. And if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That's how I can create more of such videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon in the next episodes. Goodbye for now.